Well, I certainly believe that Prime Minister Hadami has to take those threats into account. But I would also note that many of these militia and this Hashish Shabi are associated with the political parties. So in many ways, these militia are speaking for the parties, even though the parties would never admit it. Look, I think we understand that they would rather have another candidate running for prime minister other than Prime Minister Hadami, and they're going to use whatever methods they can to push him out of office to make sure he's not reelected. But militarily, I don't think that there's any significance here, and I don't think we'll see a large number of American troops pulling out anytime soon. Yeah, well, the first thing I'd say is what I've said up to this point is my prediction of what will come out of today's strategic dialogue meeting between the president and prime minister. I could be entirely wrong, but we will see. The second issue is I don't think that the presence of 2,500 American troops, most of who are technical troops, most of who are performing logistics functions and not true combat functions, is going to make a difference one way or the other regarding civil war between the Sunnis and the Shiite militias, and for that matter, Kurdistan. If that is going to break out, that will break out whether or not the American troops are there. Well, I think the solution is a unified Iraq that respects all of its citizens, respects the different cultures that enjoy within Iraq. Much like the United States has a federal system where states have more authority than the central government. I think that if the country was to split up and partition, that there would be no way to divide it fairly and an equitable distribution of resources. And when you have a breakup of that kind, that is seen as unfair or inequitable by some of the parties, that's when civil war truly breaks out. We saw that in the partition of Bosnia in 1992, which killed hundreds of thousands of people. And it would be my prediction that if we did that same partition, pure, straight partition, we'd see the same thing happen inside of Iraq, unfortunately. Well, I'm not comparing it to the United States of America. What I'm saying is that the United States has been a functional example of how that confederation can come together. And America's history shows that we had a civil war, killed more soldiers in the United States Civil War than in any other war that we've ever fought in. So it was bloody. There were those that argued that we should have a pure 13 to 25 independent states, and they fought against the Union Army that said we should belong together. In the situation in America, that was resolved, but it was a very bloody resolution, and it happened over 150 years ago. So I'm not saying that we had civil war as a result of the same question you're talking about. And I would expect that you would have a civil war inside of Iraq that would put all other wars inside of Iraq as much less. There would be significant carnage, there would be significant bloodshed, and I'm not sure that that would resolve the situation at all. It's unfortunate that I feel that way. I wish there was another option, but that's my professional opinion. Well, I think it's because we're really not fighting wars. We're fighting local violence, and then we decide what we want to do is nation building. The United States is not truly willing at this point to fight the type of war that we fought in Germany and Japan, which unfortunately in the case of Japan led to the use of nuclear weapons. So I think that the United States should be more circumspect and think harder about the wars that going in, because as you mentioned, over the last 50 years, we don't seem to bring these wars to resolution and to victory. The only example that we've had of a victory was in the first Gulf War, when we actually threw the Iraqis out of Kuwait. But that was about the only example that we've had of a complete military victory. And maybe one of the reasons we were so successful is because we didn't try to do nation building after that.